Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Quite a scene in the California legislature where the majority Democrat socialists honored Sister Roma.
Oh, who's that?
A transvestite whose real name is Michael Williams. He's one of the men who dresses in drag as a Catholic nun, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, that have come to some notoriety recently because after they're done being honored by the California state legislature, they're going to be honored by the LA Dodgers.
Who is going to go to that game? And if I was at that game, I'd turn my backs. It's so sacrilegious.
That's coming up on LGBTQ plus Pride Night, June 16th. Brian Birch over at Catholic Vote, CatholicVote.org, has done a great job getting profile on this issue and great pushback. And I think he's made some of the execs over there at the Dodgers a little nervous about the implications, particularly after watching both Anheuser-Busch and Target lose billions in market cap over the last couple of months, Target more recently, because of the choices they have made, both in terms of marketing and in terms of items offered and how they're displayed and where they're displayed. And now both Anheuser-Busch and Target are getting hit by traffic going both ways, which is precisely what they deserve. Getting hit by people saying, well, the hell with Bud Light, I'm not drinking that, Kid Rock style. And then gay groups, LGBTQ plus groups running around saying, you better profile Dylan Mulvaney and other transvestites. Yeah, you better make them spokesbeings.
A gay bar in Chicago that pulled all Anheuser-Busch products out.
Exactly.
Gave the beer away and said, don't come around here.
And those same groups are doing their Tom Petty too. Don't come around here no more if you don't put all of the tuck-friendly identitarian wear for toddlers out front at Target stores.
I mean, who did they think that they were targeting? A tuck-it-in swimsuit with extra room in the crotch area for that. I mean, not even 1% of the population.
A state senator named Scott Wiener, who proudly posed with all these ugly dudes dressed up as nuns.
Is there a picture?
Yeah, he tweeted it. Scott Wiener, who's from San Francisco. Talk about Dickensian. He was proud to offer this proclamation to quote-unquote Sister Roma, the transvestite whose real name is Michael Williams, this dude.
So proud of Sister Roma and her work in the community, and I'm proud of California for standing strong to support LGBTQ people as our community is under assault in the rest of the country.
Sister Roma went on to say it's an incredible honor to have been nominated. She says being recognized not only means a lot to her, but the LGBTQ community at large.
Of course it does, and I appreciate the Dem Socialist Identitarian Comm Shop keeping up appearances with Senator Wiener there. Oh, by the way, while we're losing our minds in some states, not all, some states here in the United States, Scandinavian countries, not exactly hotbeds of
conservatism
or Christianity.
Yeah.
Norway joining Finland and Sweden and the United Kingdom in introducing greater safeguards for children. The use of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, transition-related surgery would be restricted, most recently in Norway, to research contexts and no longer provided in clinical settings. The Norwegian Healthcare Investigation Board announcing revised guidelines for minors when it comes to quote-unquote gender-affirming care because it no longer considers them to be evidence-based. Those Scandinavian countries no longer considers the mutilation of children, the
won't allow
artificial retardation of puberty to be evidence-based. And yet, what are you hearing from Pauls and some of these ghouls in the medical profession in places like, I don't know, Chicago, San Francisco, L.A.? Again, big blue city America disintegrating at its own hands and taking a lot of the country with it. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined by Carmel Richardson. She a contributing editor at the American Conservative. Carmel, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You wrote recently about Target, as we were discussing in part, and you've been on the scene at Target back since 2016 when they were at the tip of the spear to redefine bathroom usage while they were redefining gender.
That's right. Yes. My family and I remember vividly, we were boycotting Target because it seemed like sort of a crazy thing that they were doing this. And, there have been bathroom bills and all sorts of things that have been bubbling up in and around that time. But for a corporation, for a major business to do something like that and go and say, we are so in favor of transgenderism, this, sort of fringe ideology, we are going to allow men and women to use one another's bathrooms, open up the door for, sexual assault and all kinds of things in favor of our ideology. That's crazy back then. And as you know, it's pretty standard today for a lot of different businesses that are at the level of Target and many, many levels below. So it has only become more endemic, not less.
Yeah, but the question, of course, when it comes to boycotting, and even as you point to initial market reactions and the market cap that both Target and Anheuser-Busch have lost, is you can't really sustain these boycotts long term if there are not complements and substitutes that can replace the products and services they provide. We were talking earlier in the show about the Orlando Magic forward, Jonathan Isaac. He's coming out with a new line of sports apparel. That's the sort of thing that we need more of. But absent outfits that can compete or substitute the products an Anheuser-Busch or a Target provides, it's just tough to sustain them. Now, you may be able to in those spaces because they're competitive, but you can't just boycott everything that you don't like until you can stand up things that can replace those businesses.
That's right. Yes, we need good alternatives, and in many cases we do have them. There's a brand called, or a movement called the New Founding, and they have what's called, excuse me, their Align Guide, and it has a list of all aligned businesses across the United States that are conservative. Many of them are Christian. They are not contributing to LGBTQ causes and some of this other nonsense, but there's certainly, is there anything like Target, where you can go to one place and get everything you want in one shopping trip, or have it, mailed to you like Amazon does, 2 days free shipping? That's not there yet. And so that's certainly something that conservatives have to work toward and attempt to build up, because it does make it a lot harder.
Yeah,
being said,
yeah, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would just add that I don't think the difficulty should stop us from at least attempting to keep as many of our dollars out of those businesses as we can.
Right. I mean, part of it is sort of what Matt Walsh said, perhaps. I'm not completely sold on this, but perhaps, make an example of somebody. Sustain punishment where you've seen an opening like Anheuser-Busch or Target. Sustain the punishment to send a message to the rest of corporate America that actually you can pay a price at the hands of not even conservatives, but just sort of common sense people. You can pay a market price for completely throwing in with the radical left.
That's right.
So where does it stand now? What can Target do to try and get their reputation back? Is there anything they could do to get those consumers back in their store?
I think that they can, and I believe that they will. But what it starts with is making Pride Month a normal month, rather than getting out in front and saying, you know, we're going to sell these tuck-friendly swimsuits, we're going to sell these chest-binding, you know, items for women who want to appear like men, we're going to sell baby clothes that have transgender slogans on them. What needs to happen is for Target to step back and say, we are not an advocacy group. We are not here to promote certain ideology. We're here to provide a good and service. And if you want that good and service, you can come here without feeling like you are being assaulted by this smut. But I think another part of this is really for Americans to sort of take a step back and say, wait a minute, we do not need to be buying, you know, a T-shirt for every Pride Month or, you know, Mother's Day or whatever the hallmark holiday of the week is. We do not need to be buying things for that. So it is sort of a step away from materialism to say this is not as important to us as a moral way of life.
She is Carmel Richardson, contributing editor at the American Conservative. Carmel, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our, turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It seems like everyone is on a complicated diet these days. Gluten-free, keto, metabolic, sugar-free. And with these diets comes special dietary protocol and food products. You can find plenty of advice on your social media sites, but you need expertise